1955, the Emmett Till murder in 1955. Now, I'll try to tell these in small stories, and maybe you can connect these stories so it might make some sense of the civil rights movement. In 55, Emmett Till was a young boy. He was 14 years old, living in Chicago. He had some relatives in a small community called Money, Mississippi. Now, Money, Mississippi has not historically been a place, if you're a person of color, that you would see a lot of racial integration and a lot of racial equality. While he was there, he was only there for a few days, and he was at a small convenience store in a very small town, a population of 55 or 60 in the whole town. At the store, he whistled at the clerk. She was a white woman in her 20s. He whistled at her as he left the building. She got upset with him. She came chasing the boys out. It's reported that she had a gun with her. A couple important things. Within a couple days of this happening, this was a cultural violation that a black boy or a black man would whistle at a white girl. That was considered very threatening, and just a cultural violation that you just would not cross in Mississippi. Now, this woman, her husband and her husband's half-brother, went to the house where Emmett was staying, kidnapped him in the middle of the night, beat him to death, shot him in the head, and then to dispose of the body, they tied a 75-pound fan around his body and dumped him in a river. When the body was discovered, the coroner in Mississippi wanted to bury him. The mother, Mamie Till, said, "Absolutely not. You will send his body back to Chicago, where I can bury him." She allowed it to be an open casket funeral, and it was attended by thousands of people in Chicago, so they could see what had happened to her son simply for whistling, for being a black boy and whistling at a white woman. Jet magazine was a publication that most of their readers were black Americans, and they published the story of his murder, as well as published the funeral pictures that you see here as well. One of the most terrible things about this as well, too, is that justice wasn't even served. Not only was the boy killed, but the two men that committed the murder were brought to trial. The jury deliberated only about an hour. In fact, one of the jurors said they only took that long because they took time to order some Coke or some Pepsi to drink to make it look a little better. The murderers, because of something called double jeopardy, where you cannot be tried of the same crime twice, within about 4 months of the trial, after being found innocent, they sold their story to a magazine called Look Magazine, which would be something similar to maybe like People magazine of today. And in the interview, they detailed how they kidnapped him, how they killed him, and how they disposed of his body, and how they basically got away with murder. And for the rest of their lives, there was never any justice for his murder. That's the Emmett Till murder in 1955.